Welcome to Spark. My name is Larissa, and in this video, I'll guide you through the Grades feature, a flexible tool that can be used alone or in conjunction with assignments and goals on the student planner. This video will cover how to create gradebooks and grade records, the types of grading strategies Spark supports, how to create a mastery grade record complete with learning objectives, and how to record scores in the record for each student, how to create traditional grade records and record grades, either directly in the record or on assignment submissions, how to create a pass-fail grade record, and finally, how to create grade reports. There are also several shorter videos highlighting each of these elements. Spark supports 4 grading strategies: mastery, traditional percentage, traditional points, and pass-fail. Whether your school emphasizes skill mastery, standard letter grades, or simple completion, Spark adapts to your needs. We'll look at these in more depth in a moment, but first, let's see how to access and set up gradebooks. Grades is a feature available on both the homeschool and microschool versions. In the microschool version, it's found on the teacher's side of the main navigation. To get started using our Grades feature, go to Grades and create a gradebook. Gradebooks are like a container that help you stay organized. You may have one gradebook per term, classroom, or even per student. Each gradebook can have any number of grade records within it. The grade records are the places you store the actual grades. To create a gradebook, in the main gradebook page, click Add New Gradebook. Give your gradebook a name. If you wish, select a classroom to store it in. If you select a classroom for your gradebook, you'll be able to find this same gradebook within that classroom on the Grades tab. You can also create gradebooks directly in your classroom's Grade tab. Inside each gradebook are grade records, the place where you actually enter assignments and scores. A gradebook can have any number of grade records. For instance, my electives gradebook has grade records for Coding 101, Choir, and Art. To create a grade record, first go to the correct gradebook. Click Add Grade Record. Then give your grade record a name. Select an instructor and a subject for the record. Select the students that need to be included in the record. If your gradebook was assigned a classroom, the students in that classroom will automatically be selected. However, you can deselect students or add more from your school as needed. An important step when creating a grade record is selecting the grading strategy. Spark supports mastery, traditional percentage, traditional points, and pass-fail strategies. I'll go into more detail about each strategy in a moment. Once you've selected your strategy, select the scale, weights, or learning objectives that apply to that strategy. Then click Create Record. Once your grade record is created, you'll land on the table view of the record. Each record has several tabs that allow you to view it in different ways. The table view gives you an overview of all students and assignments in that record. The student view gives you a view of the student, of one student at a time, with each assignment and score in more detail. The graded items view in a traditional grade record, or the learning objectives view in a mastery record, allows you to manage your assignments or mastery objectives more easily. Now let's look more closely at the grading strategies offered in Spark. Spark supports 4 different grading strategies: mastery, traditional percentage, traditional points, and pass-fail. Each option serves a different purpose, and the best choice depends on your teaching goals and the type of class you're running. Let's walk through each one. Mastery grading, also called standards-based grading, is all about tracking skills and learning objectives. Instead of assigning one overall grade, you measure progress on specific standards. For example, in math, you might track objectives like can solve multi-step equations or understands fractions. A student's grade reflects their progress on each of those objectives, not just a percentage on tests. This approach works especially well for subjects that build step by step, like math or reading, personalized learning environments where students work at their own pace, or schools that want grades to show growth and mastery of skills instead of just averaging of scores. If you want grades to show exactly what a student knows and can do, mastery is the strategy to choose. Traditional grading is the classic system most schools use. In traditional percentage, each assignment is graded as a percentage, and the final grade is the average of those percentages. Teachers can also weigh assignments differently, giving some more value toward the final grade. For example, an English class might have essays that count for 60% of the grade, quizzes for 20%, and participation for 10%. The student's final percentage is an average, then converted into a letter grade like A, B, or C. This strategy is best for subjects where you want weighted categories, where you have classes in which GPA and transcripts are needed, and when you have standard courses like history, English, or science. Traditional points is similar to traditional percentage, but it does not use weighted categories. This method instead adds up the points a student has earned against the total possible points. Each assignment contributes based on its point value without category weights. For example, in a science class, a quiz might be worth 10 points, a lab report worth 30 points, and a test 50 points. Or if there's an assignment that's worth 100 total points and the student earns 80 points out of that, their grade would be 80%. This strategy is best for classes where assignments naturally vary in size or importance, when teachers want point totals to determine the grade without doing category weights, or for smaller classes where every assignment has a clear point value. So while both systems look similar on the surface and use scores that translate into letter grades, such as A, B, or C, percentage grading emphasizes weighted averages, while points grading emphasizes cumulative totals. Pass-fail grading strategy is the simplest method. Students either pass or fail with no percentages or letter grades. For example, you might use pass-fail for an elective like art, music, or PE, where participation and effort matter more than test scores. Or for a project-based learning course where completion is what counts. Or for independent study, service hours, or attendance credits. This approach works especially well for activities where the focus is on effort, completion, or participation, not performance on a scale. In summary, mastery tracks progress on learning objectives. Traditional percentage averages percentages with options for weighing assignments. Traditional points adds up points earned out of total possible points. And pass fail keeps things simple with just two outcomes. The great thing about Spark is that you can use different grading strategies for different classes, depending on what best supports your teaching and your students' learning. Let's take a deeper dive now into how to create grade records for each strategy. Now let's take a look at how to create a grade record using mastery grading, which is sometimes called standards-based grading. Instead of giving students one overall percentage or letter grade, mastery grading focuses on tracking specific skills or learning objectives. This means you can see exactly what a student has mastered and where they still need to work. It's perfect for skill-based subjects like reading, math, or science, and it aligns well with personalized learning. To start, we'll create a new mastery grade record. Start by going to Grades, found in both the homeschool and microschool versions. In the microschool version, it's found on the Teacher navigation or within a classroom in the Grades tab. Create or find the gradebook you wish to store the record in. Once in the gradebook, click Add Grade Record at the top right. Give your grade record a name. Select the instructor and subject. Make sure you have the correct students included in the grade record, and then select Mastery in the Grading Strategies section. You can also determine whether or not you want to enable GPA. Since GPA is usually based on traditional grading, many schools leave this unchecked, but it's entirely up to your grading policy. Now, select the scale you wish to use. Spark comes with some default mastery scales, like 0 to 4 proficiency levels, but you can also create your own custom scale with custom labels. You can also then select your learning objectives for your record or create a new set. Learning objectives can be added, removed, or edited later within an existing record. I'll show you more about how to create custom scales and learning objective sets in a moment. Finally, when you're ready, click Create Mastery Record. Before we create it, let's take a closer look at how to select or customize a scale. To do this when first creating a grade record, go to the Mastery Scale Selections section, and here you can either select a built-in scale or a pre-saved scale, or create a new custom scale. I'm going to create a new custom scale here, giving it my own name and then my own set of scores and descriptions. You can also select what the passing score should be and how the overall scores should be calculated. I'll explain this more in a moment. Then hit Create. This new scale will be selected for this grade record and will also be saved on your Scales and Weights page. I'll go ahead and create my mastery record. Once a grade record is created, I can change or edit the scale used by clicking Grade Record Settings and going to the Mastery Grading tab. I can make changes to my mastery grade scale here or select a completely different scale if I wish. The scales that I create are saved on my Scales and Weights page. If I go here, I can see that my kindergarten math scale is saved and I can use it in future grade records as needed. I can also create new mastery scales directly on this page to store in my library for use on future records. When creating a mastery scale, you'll be asked to select calculation methods. You can select a method for both how the final score for an individual learning objective will be calculated and for how the total final score for all objectives in a mastery grade record will be calculated. Keep in mind that the final score can also be manually overridden within the grade record. Our calculation methods include highest score, most recent score, average score, and most frequent score. We'll be adding decaying average and power law in the future. The type of calculation method you select will depend upon your learning philosophy in using mastery grading and whether you want to focus on consistency, encouragement, or progress. Feel free to experiment and mix and match the different types of calculation methods. Every mastery grade record is built around learning objectives. These are the specific skills or standards you're tracking. You can create learning objective lists in each mastery grade record when you first create it or later on after it's been created. Or you can create master lists to reuse again and again in your mastery objectives page. To set up learning objectives in an existing grade record, go into the record and to the Learning Objectives tab. Click Add Learning Objectives. To add objectives manually, enter each objective's name and description, and click Save. Or you can download our CSV, copy objectives that you have in a spreadsheet, and then upload the CSV to Spark. When first creating a grade record with the Mastery strategy, you have the option of selecting a set you have already saved or creating a new objective set. A new set created here will be saved on your Mastery Objectives page. You can also go to this page to edit saved sets or create a new one. Click Add New Objective Set Give it a name and description, then either add each objective one at a time or upload from a CSV. Once objectives are added, they'll appear as columns in your table view. Each column will represent a different assessment opportunity for that objective. They'll also appear in the student view as a list, and you can add assessments here. Once your scales and objectives are set up for a grade record, you can start recording scores. You have two places to enter scores, on the table view and on the student view within the record. The table view is great for quickly entering scores across multiple students and objectives at once. Just click a cell, choose the proficiency level from the drop-down, and add notes if needed. Click the checkmark to save. You can add more entries to the same cell to track progress. The student view focuses on one student at a time, showing all their objectives in a single column. This is helpful during conferences or when reviewing an individual's progress. Click Add Result under any of the objectives, select the proficiency level, and add a note if needed. Again, you can add multiple results for the same objective. They will be stamped with the date to keep a record of progress. Each objective will show an overall score depending upon the calculation method you chose. For example, this student has 3 results for this objective, and the overall result shows the highest score for the objective. The final score for each student can be viewed on either the table view or student view. In the student view, the final score is found at the bottom of the page. Again, the final score for the entire grade record displayed here depends upon the calculation method you selected. In the table view, go to the Results column and click on the data there. To manually override the final score, either on the table view or the student view, find the final score, then turn off the Computed toggle and manually enter the final score. Manually recording the final score won't delete the results for each objective, it just changes the final reported result. Now let's move on to creating a traditional grade record. Traditional grade strategies look more like what most of us are familiar with in school, grades based on percentages or total points. Traditional grading works well for classes that use assignments, tests, or projects with clear point values, and assignments can be weighted or unweighted depending on your setup. It also works well for classes that need a GPA assigned or for use in transcripts. To start, we'll create a new traditional grade record. Go to Grades, found in both the homeschool and microschool versions. In the microschool version, Grades is found on the Teacher navigation side or within a classroom in the Grades tab. Find or create the gradebook you wish this record to be stored within. Once in the gradebook, click Add Grade Record at the top right. Give it a name, select the instructor and the subject, and make sure the correct students are enrolled in the record. Then for the grading strategy, either select traditional percentage or traditional points. Both traditional strategy types use letter grade scales based on percentage scores. For instance, a score of 90 to 100% would equal an A, etc. If I choose the traditional percentage strategy, each assignment can also be given a weight, making some worth more toward the final score than others. For instance, exams may be given more weight than quizzes. We'll look at how to use weights more in a bit. If I choose traditional points, I'll still select a grading scale, but I won't use weight categories. Instead, the grade will be based on the total points earned divided by total points possible. Weights are not needed with this strategy because an assignment with more points possible will automatically be worth more toward the final score. For example, an exam worth 100 points will weigh more than a quiz worth 25. When I'm ready, I'll click Create Record. But first, let's take a deeper look at grade scales. I'll now show you how to create and customize your own scales and weights. You can do this in each grade record when first creating it or on the Scales and Weights page. To select or create a custom scale when first creating a grade record, scroll down to the Scales section and select from your scales that you have saved, or click Create New Saved Scale. Create your scale, and it is now saved in your Scales and Weights page. Once you have the correct scale selected for your grade record, click Create Traditional Record. You can also go directly to the Scales and Weights page to add a new saved traditional scale for future use, or to edit a previously created scale. To edit or change a scale for an existing grade record after it's been created, open the record and go to Grade Record Settings. Go to the Scales tab. Make your changes here and save. Or you can click Select Different Scale and select a different scale altogether for that grade record. Weights can be customized the same way. If you select Traditional Percentage in a new grade record, scroll down to the Category Weights section and either select a category set from a pre-saved set or create a new one. Weight sets created here will be saved on your Scales and Weights page. You can also go to that page to create new weight sets or to edit previously created sets. It's important for you to know that your weight percentages do not have to add up to 100%. The system will calculate them correctly regardless of the percentage they add up to. If you need to change or edit an existing grade record's weight set, open the record and go to Settings. Go to the Categories and Weights tab and tweak the existing set or select a different one altogether. Be sure to save your changes. Once your traditional grade record is created, you can start adding graded items directly in the record or linking assignment submissions to the record. To enter grades as needed directly in the record, open the record and select one of the tabs. In Table View, you can quickly add assignment titles and enter scores for multiple students at once. Click the plus symbol across the top to add a new graded item, and the plus symbol in the table to add a score for that assignment. In Student View, you can see all of one student's assignments and grades in one place, which is great for individual review. New graded items cannot be created here, but scores for existing items can be entered. More than one score can also be entered for each graded item. The Graded Items tab is the best place to create a lot of graded items at once. Everything created here will appear in the table and student views. These graded items can also be linked to assignments on the student planner. However, it's important to understand that items created here will only appear in the grade record. They will not create new assignments on the student planner. Each assignment can include points earned and points possible if using the traditional point strategy, or the weight category if using the traditional percentage strategy, as well as dates and optional notes. Spark will automatically update the student's percentage or points total in the final column. We'll take a look at how to view and override final grades in a moment. Now let's take a look at how to grade submissions of assignments that were created directly on the student planner. The student planner top level can be accessed on the left navigation menu. This shows all assignments for all classrooms in the school. Or I can go to the classroom itself and to the student planner tab. All assignments created on the student planner appear on the students' portals and can be submitted by the student. Teachers can review submissions and approve them and can enter grades for them if desired. The assignments on the student planner and the gradebooks can both stand alone and be used separately if desired. However, assignment submissions on the student planner can be linked to a grade record to easily store the grades for them there. This history assignment, called Quiz 1, has submissions from all of the students for me to open and review. To link an assignment submission to a grade record, I'll open the submission and then click Set Up Grading on Assignment. This will take me into the assignment modal and to the Submissions and Grades tab. I can also access this tab by opening the assignment itself instead of the submission and going to the Submissions and Grades tab. Once I'm here, I click Select Grade Record. This will tell the system which grade record to store the grades for this submission in. I then select the gradebook. This classroom has one gradebook in it, titled High School 2025-26. I can find other gradebooks if I click the Show More menu. I then select the grade record within that high school gradebook that I want these grades stored within. I'll select History. Now I can either decide to create a new graded item within that grade record for this submission, or select from an already created graded item in the grade record. I already have a graded item in my record called Quiz 1, so I'll select that. Then I click Save. I can now enter grades for each of my students' submissions, and these will automatically be populated in my grade record. Let's take a look now in the grade record. I'm in my classroom and I go to Grades, open the grade book, find the grade record, and here I can see that Quiz 1 has those grades that I entered. I can also link a graded item within my grade record to an assignment that I created on the student planner. I can do that by clicking here on the table view or going to the graded items view and clicking on the assignment. I then can search for the assignment I want to link to it. Now, when I go to my student planner in this classroom and to the submissions for that linked assignment, it will automatically be linked to the correct grade record in my grade book, and any grade entries I add here will populate there automatically. As you enter graded items and their scores, Spark will calculate final grades automatically, based either on the weighted categories of each assignment or on the total points. If needed, you can override a student's final grade manually. Just click the final grade cell in the table view under the results column, or go to the student view and scroll to the bottom. Then toggle the computed setting off. Enter the final score and any other notes and data needed, and click Save. The system will keep all the graded item scores in place, but will display your override as the official grade. That's how traditional grading works in Spark, from setting up your grade record with percentage or points, to customizing scales and weights, recording grades, and finalizing results. Next, let's take a quick look at pass-fail grading. Pass-fail grading is a simple yet powerful strategy for situations where tracking completion matters more than assigning a specific score or letter grade. In Spark, classes or activities where emphasis is on participation or accommodations are great candidates for this grading type. To create a pass-fail record, first head to your grade section, found on the left navigation bar and the teacher side of the microschool version. Then either create or open the gradebook that you need. Within the gradebook, you can store grade records, including pass-fail records. Click Add Grade Record and give your grade record a name. Select the instructor and subject, and then make sure you have the correct students selected. In the Grading Strategy section, select Pass/Fail. You can determine if you want to enable GPA calculation for this grade record. If this class or activity needs to be included on a transcript, you will want to enable the GPA. And then you can also designate the number of credit hours. Then click Create Pass/Fail Record. Once your pass/fail grade record is created, you can start adding graded items directly in the record or linking assignment submissions to the record. To add grades directly in the grade record, open the record and go to the table view and click Add New Graded Item. Then click the plus next to each student's name to indicate whether that student has passed or failed for that item. You can also indicate pass or fail for each graded item in the student view. You can also add grade submissions on the student planner. You can go to the student planner from the left navigation and see all assignments that you've created for the entire school, or you can go into a classroom and to the student planner view. Once you've found the assignment you've created for your students, click on the assignment and go to the Submissions and Grades tab. Then click Select Grade Record, find the correct grade book and grade record within the grade book, and then decide whether you want to add a new graded item to your grade record or select from graded items within the record. I'm going to add a new graded item. Once I have my graded item linked, I can add grade entries for each student. Be sure to save your entries. These entries will now appear in that grade record. The final grade for each student, either pass or fail, must be entered manually. You can click the results cell in the table view to do this, or go to the student view and scroll to the final score section. You will then click either passing or unclick it for not passing. You can also add the number of credits the student has entered and their earned GPA. That wraps up pass/fail grading in Spark. Simple to set up and perfect for participation-based assessments or flexible grading needs. Now that we've explored grading strategies and how to create grade records, let's talk about grade reports. Grade reports let you pull together student grades into a polished summary that can be printed, downloaded, or shared directly with guardians through their portal. To create a grade report, I'll navigate to the Grades section found in both the homeschool and microschool versions of Spark. In the microschool version, it's found on the teacher side of the navigation. Once in Grades, I'll go to Reports. I'll choose the type of report I want to create. We'll be adding more types, including transcripts, in the near future. Once I've selected my report type, I'll select the data that needs pulled into it. I'll do this by first selecting the term and then the grade books. I can view archived terms and grade books by clicking View More in the dropdown. I can select more than one gradebook to include in my report. The grade records included in my selected gradebooks will appear to the right, and I can skip those that I don't want included in my report. If needed, I can filter to certain dates or to certain students. Once my source data is selected, I'll go to the View Options section and make sure my report includes all of the information I want to include. Then I'll go to the Header section. This is where I can add my school name and contact information. I can also name my report here. The logo included on my report will be that I added in my school settings section. Be sure to check the preview of the report and make sure everything is correct. Once my report is created, I have several options of what I can do with it. I can download it, or print it, or save it to my Spark platform. When saving it, I can also post it to the guardians of the students in the report. Guardians will only see the grade reports for their students. When sharing it with guardians, it will be posted to their portals. I can also send them an email notifying them that the reports have been posted. I can see a preview of what each guardian will view in the report. And I can also send a test email to myself. Each report in Spark is essentially a snapshot of the grades at the time it was created. If I want to update a report later, I can go back to the main report page and click on the report. I'll click Update or Change Snapshot Data, and then click Update with New Data. This refreshes the report, so guardians will see the most current version if it was posted to their portal. As an FYI, if you're on the main reports page and you can't find the report you saved, make sure the correct term is selected. We've now walked through everything you need to start using grades in Spark: creating gradebooks and grade records, exploring the different grading strategies, entering scores, and creating grade reports. As a reminder, each grading strategy has its strengths. Mastery grading shows student growth on specific skills and objectives. Traditional percentage grading works well for weighted categories or transcripts. Traditional points makes cumulative point totals the driver of the final grade. And pass-fail keeps things simple for completion or participation-based courses. When choosing a strategy, think about your teaching philosophy and what you want grades to communicate. Spark gives you flexibility to mix strategies across different classes and grade records, so you can support both academic rigor and student growth. Don't forget, you can also create and customize scales, weights, and learning objectives to match your goals. I encourage you to experiment in your gradebook, try out different approaches, and find out what works best for your school or homeschool. And if you run into questions, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out anytime with feedback or support requests. Thanks for watching, and happy grading with Spark.